What's up, guys? Gonna be starting here soon. Just doing a quick sound check. What's up, guys? Gonna be starting here soon. Just doing a quick sound check. There we go. Cradle, what's up? Good to see ya. Okay. I'm just making sure my audio levels are good. Camera's on. Cool. Sweet. Good evening. Where are you located? Anastasia, what's up? It's good to see you again. It's been a while. We finally got episode 7 ready for production. Took quite a bit of revising, so that's why I hadn't been streaming in a while. But we got our animatic today, and we're good to go. Nigeria, okay, sweet. Very cool. All right, so let's see here. Let's pull up here. What screens do I have available to share right now? It's going to take me just a little bit to kind of get back into the swing of things. But this will be kind of set up. So I'm going to be doing this like 2 hours, like as if I'm doing a tutorial. And then the focus parts where, you know, I really need to focus. I won't say much. But, oh, there's me. Let's go. There we go. Okay, so if you guys can see my screen, this is a storyboard thing that I put together really quick based off of the animatic that I received. So this is just going to be one continuous shot of the character walking towards camera. And then, I mean, one scene, but I don't know. There's a few different shots, but it's going to be essentially one project file split into multiple project files, if that makes sense. It'll be multiple project files, but it'll all be the same audio and everything. So it's just one continuous shot. And right now what I need to figure out is how to do this rig. So I have her as a character and I have him perched on her shoulder. So the first thing I need to take a look at is scale between the two characters. Right now her shoulders, I know, is going to make this kind of difficult as far as being able to hold him on her shoulder. So what I'm going to do first, I have these set up. These are my individual files. These will be my master rigs. And then I'm going to put one of them together as the full master rig. So I'm going to copy this from this file here and paste it. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. Copy and paste. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen back to where it was. There we go. Hey, Renoka. How's it going? Okay, so the first thing I need to kind of figure out is what is Miles' scale? Because it's been changing from episode to episode. And in order for him to fit on her shoulder, he's going to be significantly smaller than previous episodes, which is not really a good thing. So I have a few ideas in terms of what I can do to actually get him on her shoulder. And the first thing that I want to do is just flip him the other direction, and I'm going to close his wing. So this should be a Vitruvian bone. Oh, is that just a separate? That looks like it's just a separate layer altogether. So this wing, labeled wing pager, I'm just going to hide that for now. And then bring back his wing. Let's see here. There we go. The front wing there. And There we go. So I'm going to be using this animation because he's going to be flipping his wing out. And then for his head, I need to flip his head the other direction. Whoops, not that way. So that's where he'll be kind of sitting. And now the other thing too that I have to kind of figure out is in the, here, let's go ahead and let's bring in my images. So I'm going to need that for reference. Okay, so this is the image sequence coming in from the animatic. Actually, I don't know if I want the image sequence. I'm just going to bring them in individually. There we go. And as always, Moho brings them in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to move these really quick. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw this into a group. Just call it image refs. And yeah, so that's what I need Miles and her to be doing. So he's just chilling there on her shoulder. Anastasia, in the production I worked with in Flash, we place all the rigs in one file, make sure they're all scaled from the beginning, so shot to shot it's consistent. We call it the size chart. Yeah, I'm totally familiar with that. I think for this, what had happened is there just wasn't that setup initially. It just went. This has been a very fast on my side of things, kind of inefficient production. So there's a few things that I'm kind of missing that would be standard and would be pretty frowned upon as far as if I was working with other animators. And I don't know, it's just been kind of off the cuff, just trying to do what we can with what we have type of scenario. And then I am trying to keep the scale consistent, but at the same time, that hasn't been too big of an issue as well. I am noticing really quick here. Let me see if that is showing up. Okay. So there is a gradient there on his shoulder. It just disappears. That was just something that I was noticing right now. Okay, so yeah. So as far as the scale, I do have references from previous episodes, and I kind of already know what his scale is. It is around this size, so I'm just going to kind of shrink him down a little bit more. And I think what I'll do is, just like as a person would kind of hold out their shoulder to hold a parrot, I think that's what I'm going to do as well. So I'll just have her kind of hold out her shoulder, and I don't have, the rig for that. I was kind of thinking of doing the phone thing. I think the phone would be, no, I don't think that'll work. So I'll have to design. So that's one of the things I'll need to do. So I'll need to design that arm so that it's going to work with that position to be able to hold her arm out. And then the other thing too is how am I going to perch Miles? I'm trying to think as far as like the positioning, what I want to do for that. Because he's kind of more front as far as the reference in the animatic. Let's go ahead and let's switch this over to a switch. So what you guys are seeing right now is just kind of my active thought process of as I'm trying to figure this out. I just got the animatic. I just put together kind of my rough shot list, so to speak. It's more of a storyboard from the animatic. And I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get this to work. So this is just my whole thought process, errors and all, as I'm trying to figure this out. So I think what I want to do, I do want him facing towards her. Her arm is up. So what I'm going to do as well is I think So the other thing that we're seeing now is they're going to be basically the same rig. So when her arm moves, he needs to be moving with her arm. And this, I'll say right off the bat, I have not done this before in terms of having a rig perched on top of a shoulder. So this will be kind of a cool challenge for me as I try to tackle this. Because she's going to have a body turn. I'm going to want to make her shoulders moving, and he's just kind of on her shoulders, also moving with that body turn. And what I want to do is be able to preserve this rig so that he has his separate functions. He's going to be lip syncing, all that stuff. So this is going to take a little bit for me to kind of plan out and figure out as far as how I'm going to do this. So an idea that I have, and this is just an idea, we'll just see what works, is I believe the most you can do from rig to rig in terms of binding is layer binding. So what I'm thinking, layer binding will override pretty much everything on this secondary rig. Yeah, I'm just going to be kind of testing some things out really quick here. Because again, this is completely new to me as far as what I could be doing here. It's almost like he needs to go inside of her rig. So now what I need to make sure is that she's fully movable. Okay, I don't know if that still is going to solve my issue. No, it's not. Yeah, I've not done this before. So this is going to take some kind of trial and error. Yes, Anastasia, this is just me on this project. I have someone working on the pre-production. They're the one that sends the animatic. I do the production phase, and then I send it back to who that person is that did the pre-production. It's me and Chris. It's my co-author. This is a project we're working on together for a client. I don't know why I'm being sneaky about who it is, but yeah. So it's me and him that are working on this together. So we're pretty familiar with each other's workflows and winging it, because that's how we did it with the book. We tried to make it as structured as possible from the very beginning, but timelines and everything just kind of break everything down and make things we're good at winging it. We're good at working together. The animatic doesn't match the character design. Correct. Yeah. Yep. That's kind of where we're at. I think the animatic, I think the boards, it's been revised so much, but I think there's initial designs before these characters were even created, were even made in Moho. So there was a ton of storyboards that were already created, and then we're basically just putting them all together as far as like what we think would work. Again, I'm not familiar with the pre-production process as far as this particular production we're working on. So I don't really know how that's going. It's just kind of working with what I have already as a rig, and then just trying to get it delivered on time is essentially what we're trying to do with that. So I think, man, yeah, this is gonna be tricky. I think I have to make his rig part of her rig, or it's just gonna be a lot of like tracking him to her arm. So yeah, I'm still thinking that through as I'm reading your guys' comments here as well. Let's see. How do I make my screen bigger? Yeah, thanks. Okay, episode 6. Yeah, let me update that really quick. Good catch. So this is episode 7. This is figuring out the rig. What do I do? Let's see. What's up, James? How's it going? I'm trying to, it keeps on going down and I have like this little window. So I'm just making sure I see everything. What's up, Pixel Guy? Yeah, it keeps on jumping down. Would it be better to have the bird fly? Yeah, whoops, sorry. Yeah, that's a good option. Yeah, I just want to see what I can do with this because this is a challenge in itself. To take an existing rig and see how I can make it move with another rig. Okay, I have an idea and I don't know if it's gonna work. So I'm gonna move Miles out of that rig. See, I don't even know if this is gonna work. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a reference layer of her, and I'm gonna put her reference layer. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work either. Anyway, I'm gonna put her reference layer in his rig. These are still gonna be separate rigs. Let me see if there's a setting in here. Depth sort. Man, I might just have to track this to her arm. That might just be what I do. So another idea that I have is, so he's on her shoulder. No, because again, she's gonna be moving her upper torso. Hey, John. How's it going? Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky, Renoka. So yeah, I am, again, this is the process. Just trying to figure out how I'm going to make this work. Again, I've not done this type of rig before. So this is cool. I'm excited to be able to figure this out. I just don't know. I just don't know what to do yet. Because I know I can bind, and I think this is possible. It should be anyway. I'm not getting the option, which is kind of strange. But I'm pretty sure when I bring him into her in the same rig, I can bind. Yeah, there it is. Wow, okay, I was totally looking in the wrong spot. So I can bind his layer, but I'm not seeing that in her binding options. Dang it. I could have swore that was an option. And I just wanted to see what that would do, but is there allow layer nested control? Oh, I'm binding his layer to her bone. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so now I got that. Okay, so he's moving, but can he still function separately? He can. Okay, so that might be an option there. So let me try that. I'm going to go ahead and just remove everything. Whoops. Let's do from document. And I'm totally open. If you guys have ideas, I'm totally open as far as what ideas we could explore. Again, I'm trying to figure this out as I go as far as what is possible here. So I'm thinking, you know, I move her up to her shoulder. I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm just going to do this anyways just to see what the result is. So he's up on her shoulder and he's bound to her arm. So when she moves her arm, he's moving. When she moves her body, oh, weird. Why is he doing a body turn? Oh, you know why? Okay. Let's see. I think body turn. I think he's got a bone also named body turn. So now that he's part of her rig, shoot, I also got to make sure. Whoa, okay, that's actually cool. I didn't know this. Okay, so what's happening right now is I have an action called body turn, and it's being controlled by her master bone. Body turn is controlling him as well. And it's because they're both labeled body turn. Dude, that's actually freaking sweet. I didn't know that that was a thing. It doesn't make sense in this scenario, but that's actually really cool as far as how that could potentially be applied in other scenarios. I don't know if anybody sees this, but yeah, that's freaking awesome. Okay, so what I do need to do though is his body turn. I'm just going to label it Miles body turn. And then I'm going to go into his individual layer. Just make sure. I'll just put it here. Miles. Okay, so there's Miles body turn. Does he just have the one? Body turn, body turn. Let's sort this by alphabetical. There it is, body turn 2. So we'll do Miles body turn 2. Whoops, that's miel. Got some more of that honey. Miel. All right, Miles body turn 2. Parent the main rig to one of the arms. I tried it. I think it's doable to an extent. We can't see the action panel in the video because it's not docked. Oh, shoot. Hey, I didn't know that. Shoot. How? Yeah. How do I get that to display in? Huh. Dang it. Yeah, let me see if I can figure out how to get that extra display in there for the actions. Main window. Oh, darn it. Yeah, I can't get it to display in OBS. Dock. Okay, that's all right. I'll display it there. So there it is. So there's the actions. But yeah, so what I should have now is her individual body turn, and then if I go into his rig, where is it? Wing. Oh, right here. I'm totally blind. Okay. So I think that will work. I have to keep her arm movement very subtle because otherwise he's going to be moving too much and that'll look just really off. But I think overall that'll work. I think that looks pretty good. So there you go. I figured it out. Figuring out the rig. I can update this to. I figured out the rig. That's a joke. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm just going to move him down back to where it kind of makes sense on her arm. It's not going to be perfect as far as his pose, but it'll be cool because I can still move him individually from where she's at. And then this is, I'm actually really happy about that I can actually just bind the layer and I still have all my ability to control all the different things on the character. That's great. Okay. Now the thing that I need to do is I need to update her design. So I need to update it to where she's like, yeah, what would that arm position look like? Let's create a quick camera shot here as far as what would make probably the most sense. So she has her arm here. I'm going to use this is a script called the MR Sketch tool that Eugene currently is doing beta for. You can sign up to Molt Rush. Eugene is Molt Rush on YouTube, but you can sign up to his Discord called Molt Rush. His links are in the description of his YouTube channel to sign up. And what I'm going to use that for is just to draw out kind of her arm as far as where I think her arm would go. I'm using a mouse, so this is going to look awful right now. I'm trying to think, do I want her hand to be closed? Probably hand to be closed. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I actually don't want it to go in. I kind of want it to go out, so that's going to be a different angle. Okay. So now I'm going to have to try to draw a different perspective to this. So let's do... I don't have enough space on my desk right now to bust out my tablet. So I'm just going to try and do the best I can with the mouse just to kind of get the idea. Okay, so her knuckles. Okay, so maybe something like that would be better. And then because what this is just a blanking frame by frame layer, I can actually take and I can rotate the points to where I need to on frame 0, which will be kind of right about there. So when I go now to design this arm, it'll be more or less in that position. I could probably, yeah, I'll leave it there because I can add a bone there and I can make it move. But we'll just leave it there for now. So that's what I'll use as kind of my reference for the design itself. So what I'll do is I'll take, I don't know if I could use this hand. Let me see if there's another hand that's a little bit better to use here, or arm rather. I think I had one. I don't know if this arm is going to be any better. No, this arm is not going to work. So I'm going to stick with this arm. I'm just going to start pulling the assets and then see where I can get a hand afterwards. That'll work here. Oh, this is really hard to see. Okay. I'm going to put on a contrasting background so I can see this a little bit better. Right now my white animatic is making this kind of difficult to see. So let's go ahead and let's throw on. Oops. Open up my styles. I know you guys can't see my styles right now. Okay, just make this really dark so I can see this a little bit better. You can also make the background of Moho default to a different background color. So if I wanted to, I could do that. Actually, you know what? That's only on the export. To do it within Moho so you can visually see it, you actually come up here to edit preferences, background, and then here you can make it darker. So that's an option too. So if that's actually a good default for me. Okay. Let's see. Wow. Man, I wish I could... Hold on. Let me see if I could figure out how to put a separate tab up here. Oh, cannot see the chat. This is so... not working. Dang it. Okay. I'll just keep it where it's at. Every time there's a chat that comes in, it goes back to the bottom. Here, let me just use my phone for reference. I'll just read your chats from my phone. Bear with me. Just pulling it up here. Okay. Going back through here. So Phil says the dual body turns could come in handy for a dance routine or something that requires some form of unison and choreography. Yeah, that could be an example. I have I have like actually some ideas as far as how that could work. Crazy. I bought Moho coming over from Anime. I'm interested in your process. Sweet. Yeah. Well, this is showing you the full raw process, Crazy. So you're in the right place because I'm literally showing everything. Right now, we're kind of in the design / rig phase as we build this next episode. Hey, Cradle, I appreciate that. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep this separate chat open on my phone here because that's going to be a lot easier to read. Okay. All right. So what I was doing is I was building out this new arm for this rig here. So what I'm having a hard time doing though right now for some reason is selecting the points. There we go. So there's the points. So that's going to be, oh, wait. I see what's going on here. I'm selecting a arm back version of this front arm. How is this working? Okay, so this is the tricky part when you're kind of Frankensteining things together is, oh, that's what that is. Okay, nope, that's fine. Arm standard Vitruvian. I have two. Oh, whoa, where'd it go? It looked like I had two shapes that I was dragging that were the same thing. It's still a little hard to see. I actually think it's because of I'm going to use a different color for this reference that I just drew out. Just change that to like, oh, I don't think it's doing it in real time. There we go. Something like that. Just so I can see these points contrast a little bit better. Okay, so this is where her arm is. Yep. I'm going to add a point there, add a point there. So I'm just going to quickly just create a rough design just to get the idea quickly blocked in here. If you're coming from more of a traditional approach, Crazy, as far as like if you're not, you know, using the rig. I don't know how the rigs work in Animate, honestly. But if you're coming from Flash, you're probably doing more traditional animation. So this is kind of blocking in terms of like the rig. So we have frame by frame, but in terms of how I'm going to be using this rig, it'll be able to handle multiple frames, multiple shots. I just need to get the design blocked in to get the idea working here. Okay, so that's where that part of the hand is going to, or that arm is going to go. This hand, this isn't even going to be the right hand. I'm going to have to create a new, because their thumb wouldn't be going that way. But I'll just kind of put something there temporarily. And I don't need this phone, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Okay, and so this process of what I'm doing right now, this is building the master rig. So this rig will actually be imported into all my shots where I want to use these two characters. So right now all I'm doing is I'm just testing the idea to make sure it works before I finalize anything. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. So again, this is going to look really off right now, but that's okay. Wow, this arm looks so janky right now. Okay, so something like that. I'm going to quickly draw in bring in my style here. Quickly draw in a shape for her sleeve. Oh, that's a square. What am I drawing a square for? Okay, I actually can't really see her arm very good, so I'm just going to isolate this layer. so I can draw this out just a little bit better. Oh man. I'm trying to make this process as quick as I can, just because it's pretty boring. I'm not wanting to bore you guys. I kind of want to show more of the process, get something in there quick, and then we'll work on it from there. Okay. As far as this hand shape, I'm just going to remove the thumb just so that we have something there. And then I'm going to move these creases over so that they kind of match the arm. Okay, so that's very kind of rough state there. Oh, my phone turned off. Let me see if I guess it'd help if I hit play on the thing. What was the tool called? Oh, it was called the MR Sketch tool, Renoka, by Moltbrush. Bearish Chief, I prefer drawing with the mouse for sure. Hey James, thanks for joining as always. We'll see you later. Cool, yeah, so here we go. So now we got our janky arm on our character here. And let's bring back everything else. Oops. There we go. Oh, I'm curious. Can you see? Nope, you can't see these windows. Dang it. So all the pop-up windows that pop up in Moho, I'm realizing in the stream you actually can't see them. That's cool. Oh, it looks like I got another shape in there. Let's remove that. I can refine this just a little bit better just so it's not bugging me. What is this shape here for? I'm just going to hide that for now. Probably don't need that. Whoops, that is for the hand. Yes, I do need that. What is this curve doing? What in the world? I'm just trying to fix the curve on her sleeve here really quick. I think it's actually this down here. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, that's good enough. I'm not gonna get caught in that. So anything that I change on frame 1 and above, I need to make sure I paste it back to frame 0 because frame 0 is my design stage for those of you that are new to Moho. Okay, so here we got her arm now. So now I can actually take him and I can pose him separate. So I got his root bone here. I can kind of move him forward a little bit, bring him down so both of his legs kind of bend there a little bit nicer. I don't know what's going on with that back leg here. Yeah, that's not really bending nice, is it? Okay, well, I'll come back to that. I think this will just be moving kind of the bone around. But for this pose, I think it's starting to come together now. Whoops, I didn't mean to link bone. I'm just trying to flip the head. You'd be looking more that way. He will be making eye contact with her. So in the animatic, they're also looking at each other. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Because it's going to be so awkward. Because her head is like right there. She's already making the right face, having this weird bird on her head. Oh, I got another head turn that's turning at the same time. Because they're both named the same thing. So I need to go back into the Miles rig. And for his head turn, I'm going to go ahead and just sort it so that I have, he's only got one head turn action. Okay. And I'm just going to call it Miles. And I'm going to copy that. So right now, when I make a change to Miles, it's going to turn this not into a smart bone action. It's just going to change this into an animation action, which if for those of you that are watching that are maybe coming from Flash, this is kind of similar to what a symbol is. It's a timeline within a timeline, which is really cool. But I can have this animation separate to where it's like its own timeline, or I can tie it to the action of this bone right here, which Animate isn't able to do. So I do that by linking back together the proper naming between those two bones. So this is me selecting the bone and renaming it, and it'll turn my timeline blue again. So now I'll have control over that symbol that's being controlled by a dial, essentially. If Crazy's still here. I don't know if you're still here, Crazy, but that was for you. Addison asks, how long does it take to animate an episode? I can do a full minute in about, it varies, but about 3 to 5 days in Moho. Yeah, thanks, WB. This is a character design that was created by Chris Georginas. He's my co-author on my book, and he's also my partner on this project that we're working on. My colleague, my coworker, I don't know. Yeah. It's my very good friend. Okay, so I think that actually isn't too bad. I was kind of thinking they might be a little bit too close with how close they are. He's a very loud character. So I don't know if I should maybe move him down a little bit more, because it's going to look so weird once he starts screeching, just having her right next to him. I think anyway. But yeah, I think we're pretty much set up in a good spot now. So now she's got her body turn, and he kind of moves with her. Granted, it's not, all in perspective, but it works for what I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to make her look like she's walking. Okay. So what I will do actually is I have very little movement in that walk, and I need to turn her shoulders sooner with that walk. So I'm going to go back into her rig, and I'm going to fix her shoulders a little bit there. So going this way, it takes a bit till the shoulders start to kick in and move. Actually, they're not moving at all. I think they're just moving the one way, which is probably why. Yeah, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to body turn, and I'm going to move her shoulder. This one's going to kind of come out there, so I'm just going to kind of scale that collarbone out, I guess. And this one's going to move in this way. Okay, and let's just see what that looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good. So he's on her shoulder, and as she's walking. Okay, I think that'll be enough movement. What interpolation do you use on your keyframes by default? Smooth or linear? Smooth. For sure use smooth. I wish it defaulted to linear when you're in the action timeline, because that's actually the interpolation that you need. So what I do here, let me go back to the action here so I can display this better. So what I do is I actually set my keyboard shortcuts. Oh, and I don't know if this is going to show either. Dang it, it's not going to show. All right, let me show my other screen. So I get to come up here, sharing, edit keyboard shortcuts, and here you can come to interpolation, and you can set it to whatever you would like. So I have my linear set to control 1, so once all the keyframes are highlighted, I just hit control 1, and that automatically sets them. So that's kind of a nice fast keyboard shortcut. I also have select all for keyframes set to shift control A. You can set it to whatever you want, but that will select all my keyframes. So it's as quick as select and then change, select and then change. But yeah, usually my default is just smooth. And the reason for that is because even though I can change my default to linear, whenever I do create keyframes here, by default, Moho's internal interpolation, I guess you could call it, is always going to be smooth. So these will be smooth no matter what. So you'll have to change it anyways. So I just leave it at smooth and then update it to linear. Hopefully that's a quality of life change that we see in future versions of Moho. That gets fixed. When you enter the action timeline, it just defaults to linear because we're always changing it to linear anyways. Okay, cool. So I think we're good. So now her shoulders, when she shrugs, he moves. Cool. I'm liking how this is looking so far. Let me just make sure all of his... Okay, so he's got his body. And that'll be good, because when she does her body turn, I can throw in a little bit of body turn in him as well. Cool. We figured it out. If whoever has been here since the beginning, I was using this first 48 minutes to figure out how am I going to make this rig work. 2 existing rigs, combine them into one, and have her arm actually move the character. And we figured it out. Very, very pleased with the results here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and paste that layer back to there. So there we go. So there's that. So now this is going to be my new master rig. I'm just going to call this I don't know, Kelly and Miles. I know you guys can't see my screen. There we go. Okay, so I think we're in a good spot now. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I haven't foreseen yet that might need, but that's the beauty of using a master rig, is I can actually take this project now and I can import its reference. Again, if you're thinking like symbols, you can import the symbol into a new project and it'll have that link. It'll link because it's a reference of the original. So if I need to update anything in any of my shots, my individual projects that I create, I can go back into this main master rig, update it, and then it'll update it in all my other projects. So so what I'll do though to keep this project clean is I'm going to take out my sketch layer. I'm going to remove that. My image ref, I'm going to actually copy that into my first project. Oops. I'm going to create a new project, and this is going to be, let's see, I'm going to reference my shot list here really quick. Okay, so we're starting with shot 2. This is episode 7. So I'm just going to create a quick save really quick for this file. And this will be episode 7, shot 2, and then my version number. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these references over. Is actually what I was going to do. So I'm going to copy that over, and I can delete them from here because this is just going to be for my master rig, and I can remove that background. So I'll go ahead and I'll save this, and this is where the magic happens. So check this out for those of you that are maybe new to Moho or new to this process. For everybody else, you probably already know what I'm doing. But I'm going to go to import, general import, and then here in my master rig, you can't see it, but I'm opening up my Windows Explorer and I'm selecting that file that I was just working on. And this is called female doctor copy. Let me actually not call it that. I'm going to call this master and save that again. So import. Oh, you can't see this. Shoot. Okay. I'm going to share my other screen. So import, general import. And then right here, that's my file that I'm bringing in, open. So there it is. There's that master. This is actually what Moho is referencing mainly. So if this name were to change, the reference would break. If the project file name changes, the reference would break. So this is something to kind of keep in mind whenever, if you're trying to create a new reference to replace the existing, there's not like an internal ID. It's actually just based off of what Moho sees in the file structure and also its main name. I'm going to talk about this more in my second book because this is kind of important. And I don't know if I explained that very well, but I'm going to come here to import by reference. I'm going to go ahead and import that. So now I have my reference. So any changes I make to my main, so it could be bones, it could be color, it could be anything. So you've, again, probably seen this, but right here, it shows that there's this red arrow saying, hey, the reference is broke, the link isn't active. And I can go in, I can say update layer reference, and it'll give me options as far as what do I want to update. Add new missing layers, remove layers, replace mismatched vectors, mismatched bones. I don't need to really do any of those. What it's going to do is it's basically style change. So it's not any really one of these. Go ahead and hit OK, and there we go. So now, whenever I need to add bones, smart bones, anything to my rig, I can just go back into my master, update it here, and we're all gravy. Okay, so let's see. It's not opening. I can't visit here. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna check my audio, just make sure everything is kind of still going. Okay, it still looks like it's live on my end. If anybody else is having issues, let me know. I don't know what that means exactly, WB, as far as it's not opening. I can't visit here. But yeah, so let's go ahead and let's switch my screen back over. So now we're ready to import the audio for this. So now we're going to get started on, I think what I'll do first is the lip sync of the characters. And then we'll start blocking things out, getting them walking towards camera. Chris is going to be doing the scrolling background. So I'm just going to be kind of animating a close shot. Probably do like a waist up shot similar to what the animatic is showing there. And then, yeah. That'll basically, Nella, chill out. That'll basically be what is going on there. And then she's just going to have her movement for her arm. And then her arm movement probably going in front of and behind her body. I might need to throw a stroke on there so you can actually see her arm moving back and forth. But we'll see. Again, that's something, now that I have my master rig built, I can import this reference, and any changes I need to make later on, I could start making to my master rig and update it here. Which again, that's really powerful as far as a software that can do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of pose her really quick here. Something I didn't do, something that I like to do is on top of everything, I like to take a look at their silhouette. Right now you can see that it's broken, and that's because I saved. This is still exactly the same character, so I'm just going to go ahead and update this. But it's showing that it's broken because I just saved it after making a change, and it always breaks if it doesn't see the exact same save. I don't know if that makes sense. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, because that's what this whole thing is for. This is me working, but at the same time, I'm trying to help for whoever is needing it. So Animate has a scenes window where you can toggle between different scene shots within one project. How do you handle working on various scene shots in Moho? Separate project files. So Crazy, I just create separate projects. So up here you can see my save name, episode 7, shot 2, version 2, and that's kind of how I go about that. I I think Animate and Moho have a totally different structure as far as, you know, how it what's the word? Animate is vector based, Moho is vector based, but they have a different infrastructure. Not infrastructure, what's the word I'm looking for? Framework. Where Animate is able to run lighter on some. I don't know fully Animate, but I've talked with quite a few Animate professionals that I kind of got an idea, but it's just a totally different framework. So Moho is light, but it can get heavy when it comes to really complex long timelines, and it all just kind of depends. It's all kind of just how your computer performance is, how Moho actually processes all that data as well. You do have like a GPU caching, but if I'm not mistaken, I think for the majority of it, it actually uses a CPU. That would be another quality of life feature that'd be nice to see in the future. But yeah, I don't know the technical part of Moho, but I have seen to where there have been a lot of requests to use more of the GPU than Moho is currently using. But good rule of thumb, always create, your shots separate. And for me, I don't really take my shots, individual shots, more than a minute as far as the timeline. It also just is a kind of a disaster when you're working with, I don't know. I don't like actually having a really long timeline. I actually prefer to keep my timeline pretty succinct and just block everything out into different shots. I actually find that to be a lot easier in my opinion. A lot easier or a lot safer. Kind of either one of those. I don't know really what to do with her arm right now, but as far as her body turn, she's going to be doing that. And that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to import now the audio into the project. So I'm going to go back to my desktop. I'm actually not seeing my audio. Okay, I'm going to double check open up DaVinci Resolve really quick and see where my audio is. Anastasia, McCoy, you emailed that thing about submitting rigs, and I legit had a question about two rigs interacting with each other. Sweet. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, this was new to me. And that's kind of what Anastasia is talking about. This is an idea that I had at a later time when people are, most people are at work right now. For those of you that are here, it's like late night or something. I want to find a time that works for everybody. So I'm thinking like 6 o'clock my time, which will be morning for some, and everybody's getting home from work for others. And what I wanted to do was do what's called a rig your rig stream, where you submit your rig, I rig it, I show you the whole process. I don't send it back to you or anything because that's just going to be too much on my end. But if you're in the live stream, you can ask questions, and I'm basically rigging your rig, and I'm walking you through the process of, okay, you submitted your issue, this is the thing that you're trying to do, and I show you how to do it all within an hour. So it'll all be blocked to 1 hour, so I don't kind of kill myself making it way too long. But I'm just looking really quick here. That doesn't make sense. My audio should be, sorry, I'm doing two things at once right now. My audio is being exported as MOV, which is why it's not finding it. Oh, format. Oh, okay. But anyway, so that stream is an idea that I had. I sent it out to my newsletter, through my newsletter, asking who would be interested in it. It sounds like Anastasia would be, which is awesome. Thank you as always for your interest, Anastasia. But yeah, I think it'd be really cool, and it would be something really valuable for me if I was starting out, that I would want to know. Okay, so really quick, I'm just trying to get this saved so it's not an MOV. Moho's looking for a MP3. All right. Bear with me. There's one more shot here that I got to get. Okay. So this is the animatic right here that you guys are seeing. And I'm going to export the audio pretty soon here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and export that again, and we'll go ahead and delete. I need one more screen to be able to see. Well, here I have my phone, but I can't keep my phone up. Anyway, I'll take a look at your guys' questions here if you have any pretty soon here. I have so many screens open and only 2 screens, 2 monitors. Okay. Let me make sure that Moho's still showing. It is. Was DaVinci showing? It was. Okay, cool. All right, so now I'm going to import my audio back into Moho. Or for the first time, I'm going to import it into Moho. And here we go. 2 through 8. Boom. I like to start my animations usually on frame 25. But let's just see how this plays out.
Tell me. The ConnectAll app.
Okay, so she starts here. Tell me. Okay, so that's perfect. So that's frame 67. Now I'm going to be animating my animation on 2s. So I'm actually going to change my interval to 2s, to animate on 2s. And the first thing that I like to do as well is to pretty much block out my lip sync, my actions, all the stuff. I put it on step, which in Animate, I'm trying to remember what that is. It's basically like a hold in Animate. So I'm just going to be, blocking out like you normally would with your animation.
Tell me, the ConnectAll app can...
Okay, so she's going to be talking first. I'm going to reference my... Oh, I don't have it updated in my storyboard. Who's talking? So I'll just kind of... What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a marker for when Miles starts talking. And before I do any of that, actually, I'm going to set up what is their default pose, just so I have that kind of in place there. Okay, I'm gonna go through your comments really quick, and then this is the part where I'm just going to kind of focus on what I'm doing, and once I hit a break spot, I'll take a look and answer more of your questions. Bear asks, do you think we can speed up processes for short meme animation? I have a plan to make meme animation on X. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I was saying, if you have, a reference rig with Moho, you could actually technically take existing animation from a similar rig and you can paste those keyframes onto what's called a relative rig. So if it's relatively close to the original, you could actually reuse a lot of that animation. It'll still take some tweaking, like an individual lip sync, whatever it is that you're doing. But yes, you could quickly reuse assets, animations, things like that. I actually have a webinar on this on the Moho channel. If you just look up McCoy webinar, McCoy Buck webinar, Moho, on YouTube, you'll be able to find it. Oh, is that your question? Crazy. It was the tabs. Maybe that was your question. I totally misunderstood. But yes, you can have multiple projects open within Moho. And then, like I said, you can do a lot of copying and pasting existing frames from one animation, one project to another. And it's pretty flexible in that way. Hey, David. Yeah, nice to have you here. Anastasia, if you got a rig, your rig could be the first. Well, okay, I don't want to play favorites here, but it's first come, first serve. So when I do submit that form, if I get enough interest, I haven't looked at my emails, but if I get enough interest, then we'll make it happen next week, like I said. And yours could be one of the first to be not reviewed. It could be rigged. We'll rig your rig. We'll just figure out what it is that what it is that you need. Oh yeah, thank you, Cradle. Yeah, I was sick there for a while. I am feeling better. In anime, it'd be a single frame. Okay, it's called the single frame. Good to know. Hey, Renoka, I appreciate appreciate the full title there. That'll probably help. Okay, cool. So we're ready to start animating. So let's freaking animate. That's the best part. Rigging's pretty fun, sure, but I like to animate. So let's hop in the animation here. So we're gonna start by, I'm actually gonna do something. I'm going to create my silhouette first. So I can already see he's kind of off her shoulders there a little bit. Let's move him down a little bit more. And then he's got his other foot. It's kind of snapping there. Let's bend that back a little bit nicer. Okay. And then I can just toggle this off just to see how this is looking. If I wanted to, I don't know how detailed I'm going to get because this is, again, a very quick turnaround project. But, you know, I can put his back toes behind her arm. But honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to get to that point. We'll just see where this ends up and what's noticed and not noticed by the end here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just posing the character. My phone keeps falling because it's blowing up and I'm using it as a third screen. Gosh dang it. Okay. Yeah, you guys keep asking questions and I'll get to your questions here in a second. Okay, so this is a script that I'm using called the MR Pose Tool. Man, someday I'll get the names down. Sorry, Eugene, if you're watching. So this is the MR Pose Tool. So what's really cool about this is I can move parent bones and the child bones. I can tell them, I can give parameters as to what I want them to do. So I can select my bones here, the children bones of this chest, and holding it down control and using my mouse, I can just move it and it's going to pop up this little wheel. And I can say lock angle. So now when I move the chest bone, his arm angle right here at the top, this top bone, is actually going to stay in place for that rotation. As you can see there. So it's pretty cool. Gives you a lot of flexibility and makes it so you don't have to move things around so much. Okay, so again, right now I'm just working on the silhouette. And hers looks pretty good. I think if I kind of, whoops, let's go back to her bone layer. I think if I kind of move her head back a little bit there. I don't know where she's facing right now, but let's pretend she's looking at him. I think that looks pretty good. I think it reads okay too. What I do need to do is I do need to fix this bone right here. So this will show you how this master rig part now works because I totally missed this. I didn't finish up the rest of her arm. I kind of want to be able to create an overlapping action as she's walking. So I want to kind of create that overlap on her arm as well and her hand. So what I'm going to do, let's see, what time is it? Wow, that was an hour. Oh man, I might have to keep the streams to an hour because I love helping, but when I'm talking for a whole hour, man, I get exhausted pretty quick. I'm already gassed and I got to work another 10 hours today. Okay, so let's see. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to fix this rig. So I'm back on my master rig and I'm just going to adjust these bones to where it makes the most sense. So this is for the rotation of this arm right here. And then I'll use this for her hand. And if I wanted to get fancy with it, I can do her fingers and all that other stuff. But I'm probably not going to do that. Let's see. What is this bone here? That's B60. What are you parented to? Okay, that's probably from just an old design. So I'm just going to delete that. So this arm is parented to that arm. So that's looking good. Let's just check the rotation of it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm noticing that her little detail here isn't moving with it. So let's just go ahead and do a quick point binding. So we'll point bind that detail to this. Okay. That doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, hold on. What do I want to do? Let's do... Oh, maybe I can't have that detail. I'll keep that detail. What I'll do is... Okay, so this is what's so cool about Moho, for those of you that are new here. I can take this bone right here called B56. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to call this forearm front, just so I can create an action for it that makes sense. So I'm going to take this arm, and I'm going to create an action for it, what's called the smart bone action. And in this smart bone action, I'm going to have it to when her arm pulls away, these details will, whatever I wanted to do with them. I don't even know what I want to do with them yet. But I can have them follow that arm rotation. And right now I'm on step, so I'm going to set my keys back to, let's just do linear for now. And I'm going to adjust my, okay. So that looks really, not great. But what we could also do is, so here I'm just manipulating the individual points. But what I can also do is I could take, and I can just move that. Okay, so again, it doesn't make sense really as far as how I'm animating this. This is kind of more just to show you an example of how you could use this, because I don't really know how I want to do this, to be honest. I want her arm to move. I want this to look a little nicer. So what I'm doing is this bone is basically acting as a control, and it's moving the different points to where I want them to move, which is really great when I want to clean things up. This is like doing cleanup all within the bone, right? So as her arm is moving, her elbow detail is morphing, the perspective is changing, things like that. How do I want to do this? I'm not a close folding animation expert, but if I had to guess how I would do this, it'd probably be... Oh, okay. So here's the other thing too. So notice that something is animated on 2s, which this is animated on 1s. Her arm moving down is animated on 1s, and this detail right here is animated on 2s. And that is because, and this is probably why it looks so bad, my default interval is set to 2. So I actually want to set my default interval back to 1. Let's just move this back to... So that's the kind of tricky thing with Moho, is it doesn't have the memory. That's not the right word for it, but it doesn't remember what your default interpolation was when working in certain spots. It has this option to do copy previous key, which is kind of close to that. But what we need is just kind of a dedicated, when you're in the, in the smart action, it defaults to what makes the most sense. So in this case, it'd be linear on 1s. So I have to make that adjustment. So I'm going to select those keys, right click, and I'm going to select interval and 1. And for whatever reason, I was saying it already was on 1s, but it wasn't. We saw that. And there we go. So let's just take a look at this, see if this will work for now. Okay, that works. And the reason why I'm not going to worry about this too much more is because her arm's not going to be traveling all the way down there. To do that full range of motion is going to look really weird for an overlap when it's probably going to be just like this. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. I'm going to go back to the main line now. And the last thing that I need to do is I need to bind her her sleeve opening there to this bone as well. So again, when that bone moves, that's what it's doing. So that's perfect. And then this right here, funny enough, I could actually fix that. So the order of where this shape is for her hand is all in front. I'm going to select the shape itself and I'm going to move it back behind that layer. You probably didn't see it. And it probably didn't work there. There we go. Nope. There. What the heck? Is this what is this? Oh, it's a liquid shape, which that would be too much to explain what a liquid shape is. I don't even think I need it. Yeah, I don't even think I need that. Okay, so that was set to a liquid shape. I'm going to move this back. There we go. Jeez. Okay, so that's where I want that to be. And I'm just going to create really quick a nicer kind of pivot area for when her hand bends, you don't see the jankiness of the design. There we go. So that's what we'll have there. Oh, it's kind of poking out a little bit. Just go back. Just move that down. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not gonna, I keep on getting stuck on the little weed details. I'm just trying to get something that works and then I can go back and refine as needed. Okay, so that's how that looks. So now I have, like I said, an action. Think of it again as a symbol for those that are from Animate. I don't know who's here from Animate. Sorry, I'm like assuming everybody is, but I've been talking with a lot of Animate users and I've been trying to explain a lot of these processes and it's a lot easier to show now that I have a screen to show. So anyway, yeah, so that's what that's doing. It's driving that action, which is so freaking cool. That's one of the things I really like about Moho. So as you can see here, if I go back in here, it's saying, oh wait, that's, broken. I don't have that bone that I just created. Cool. Let's go ahead and let's update my layer reference. Add new missing vector layers from source. I'll keep that one. Or no, not layers. Remove layers. I'm going to remove that. Replace mismatched vectors. That's the one I want to keep. And replace mismatched bones. So now, check this out. Once I hit OK. Boom. It works. See that? So I think what's going on is I have this still set to, this one's kind of a little bit harder to explain. Why is that color? What the heck? That's the right color. Let's do this. So I'm going to delete this arm just entirely. And now when I go to update the layer reference, I'm just going to select all of these. There we go. I don't know why it did that. I think it was because this this rig that was a reference before was still on liquid shapes, which I don't think translates from the master to the reference. I know that's probably technical, that not a lot of this is going to make sense to people, but I think that's what was going on there. Okay, cool. So now we got her hand. I can do a little bit of overlapping action. I got her hand here. So I'm just testing it, just make sure everything came over good, and it looks like it did. So that's really cool. Okay, so body turn, we're good there. All right. Now we're ready. Now that I have a pretty decent silhouette, I'm now ready to start animating these characters. Okay, so this is, I'll break my focus for here for a second, and I'll take a look at your guys' comments and questions if you have any. Oh man, I'm like lightheaded. All right, let's see here. Oh, I already sent it. Oh, sweet, Anastasia, you sent me your rig? Very cool. All right. The video. Oh, yep. Okay, I did read these. Anastasia, it was more. I had a shot. I made 2 rigs for, and I was able to accomplish what I needed, but I couldn't. But I figured maybe you might know if I could have done it better. Made 2 rigs and was able to accomplish what I needed. The whole replace the rig thing I was able to do and animate, and it's a crazy setup. I saw one person do it on YouTube and basically expanded beyond what they did. Okay, cool. Miss how you switch the silhouette. Yeah, it's because my screen doesn't share everything. So I'll show you this for you. Where did that go? Renoka, here you go. So if you double click your layer and you go and see your layer settings, you have the option to colorize a layer. And then here you can colorize it to whatever color, and I picked black. And then you just go ahead and hit apply and okay. And then down here you have your layer effects. So you can toggle this on and off. I would recommend though, just because this is just showing what's in the viewport, when I actually render the final animation, it'll render that silhouette. I recommend that obviously you toggle this off completely before you render, your 5,000 PNG sequences, because I've never done that before. Sarcasm. Let's see here. The default interval thing threw me for a loop originally. Yeah, exactly. WBD, is there a system for auto lip syncing? Manual lip syncing takes a lot of time. It does take a lot of time, but no, there currently isn't one. Let's see here. Cradle, yeah, also was answering that. Clay Splash, what's up? And K Draws. Hey, Kay, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're enjoying the stream. I never know how these go. I mean, honestly, these are shaped by the viewers themselves. So this I would consider, in my opinion, a successful stream. I hope that what I've been sharing has been helpful. Because, yeah, it's hard to know. I'm saying it and I'm doing stuff and it's all happening all at the same time. So hopefully it's coming across clearly. Yeah, as far as auto lip sync, I don't have any information on that. So if anybody wants to answer that question, it looks like Anastasia, you have come across something for that. I know the one thing was like Papagayo. There was something else too. I can't recall off the top of my head. Another streamer was actually talking about it. Shoot, another streamer, another commenter on another stream was talking about it, and I was gonna look back. Dang. There actually is one that I wanted to try out. But anyway, for those of you who are, here to do it the manual way, here you go. This is how I do it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at our audio. Let me make sure I got my audio on. Looks like I do. I can go ahead and switch back over to my other screen here.
Tell me, the Connects All app can stop the constant beat parade, Miles?
You got it.
Okay, so there he starts. You got it. All right, so we'll go ahead and hit.
You got it.
Create a marker there.
Think of it as alarm triage.
Okay, so this dialogue goes pretty long here.
Oh, yourself, center stage. Center stage. Center stage.
So I'm just going to go till he stops talking. So that looks like it's about there.
You got it. Think of it as alarm triage. Only the urgent stuff gets center stage.
See what I mean? Once he starts yapping, man, he gets loud, and it's going to look awkward if he was closer on her shoulder there. So we'll go ahead and we'll start from there. So that'll be the start of our animation. So now what I like to do is I like to only have visible the bones that I'm working with. And this is how I go about this. So I select just the bones that I want visible. Oh, actually, you know what? Shoot. Do I have his tongue? Oh, whoa, what is that? That's a whole other arm. Dang. Okay. So here's a challenge that you guys will probably find really boring, and some of you will find really interesting. I have a rig somewhere that exists where he has a tongue. Right now, this is how I have to manually animate his tongue. I move it up, and this is kind of a pain in the butt, but I move it up, I give it that shape, and then when I move it down, I want to give it that shape, right? So I have to move I have to move 2 different bones just for the tongue, whereas on another rig that I've created, it's already done. And what I have to figure out now is how do I implement that onto my master rig to then reference back into my project that I'm working on. So I'm just going to create a new save because this is going to get messy. Because I got to figure out first where that rig was. And what we'll aim to do is we'll aim to get Miles lip synced before the hour is over. So that'll be my goal here. Man, I'm trying to think though, what is the character rig? Oh wait, you know what? Maybe it's there. Maybe it's hidden. Okay, please be hidden. I'm hiding all my bones. Emotion. Pupil. Oh man. I'm gonna look really quick. I think it's called tongue. Tongue. There it is. Tongue. Tongue, where are you? Are you... yeah, see, that's the tongue. Okay, that's not it. Okay. I got to open up my OBS thing again so I can make sure you guys see what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is it right here. It's called tongue action. So this bone, what I'm just going to test out, I don't think this is going to work. I'm just going to try to copy this bone and paste it directly into the master file. Let's just see what this does. Okay, so it does bring it in. Now let's see if it brings in the action. It does not bring in the action. So it brings in keys, but these keys don't represent anything. Okay, so it's still missing some information there. Actually, you know what? Let me try that one more time. And I want to also see if it brings in the action itself. And it does. It is bringing in the action. Okay. But what Moho's saying is, hey, I don't know what tongue you're referencing because this is a totally different tongue from where this tongue action was created. So now I'm going to try something else. I am going to bring in the layer that has that animation on it. So I'm going to select that tongue. What I'm essentially doing, and again, you can't see it, that sucks. But I'm hitting edit up here, and under edit, you have copy layer. But I'm going to do Control-Alt-C to copy. And then Control-Alt-V. I'm going to go back into Miles. Oh, man. I don't even know if you guys can hear my stomach rumbling. I'm doing intermittent fasting. I don't eat breakfast. I haven't been for like the past 6 months. And today especially is like killing me. Let's see. Tongue, action, break. Beak bottom. Wait. Is that? Yeah, okay. So this tongue right here, I'm going to go ahead and replace with that existing, with that other tongue. And now let's see if it connects. If this connects, this is going to be really freaking cool. And we just learned something together. Oh, it's missing the, I somehow misplaced the tongue action. So I'm going to copy that bone back over. Paste. Please work. This would be so freaking cool. Ah, dang it. I thought that would work. Okay. So another reason why I think this might not be working is because now the other thing, so here's the tongue. I'm trying to think without making a huge mess out of this, what I can do. Okay, I want to go back to the tongue action. So there's the tongue action. Right? So I didn't show it. This is what it's doing, right? So this is what I'm trying to bring over into my other project. So anytime I use the L, I just want that action to already be there. I want that overlap, whatever. I want it to look nice. I don't want to have to create it manually each time with these 2 different bones. That's a pain in the butt. So what I did is I just created the action using those 2 different bones. But it's all in this bone dial. Okay? So what I'm trying to figure out, though, is when I go to the tongue action, I do have, my individual... Oh, wait, you know what? I know what it is. Dude, okay. The tongue action isn't controlling points. For some reason, I was thinking I was working with points here. It's working with B104 and tongue. Are these labeled B104 and tongue? If it's not, that might be my... Dang it, it is. Okay. So the last thing I can think of now is, at this point, it probably would have been faster just to recreate the action, but here we are, we're just troubleshooting. All of these keyframes are tied to these two bones on my bone rig layer, on my bone layer inside of this tongue action. I'm going to go back into the tongue action, and I'm going to paste with those two bones. Oh, okay, I think that's going to work, but let's make sure we got this right. I'm just going to select this bone and this bone, and I'm going to select just those selected. Really hard to see. Select just those. Go back, frame 0. Just those bones, select them, paste. Boom. It works. It freaking works. I mean, of course it did. I kind of knew at that point it would have to work. Okay, so we got a lot of other bones and stuff in here that this tongue action brought in. So what I do need to make sure is that's good where that's at. But everything after that on this animation, because this is where I was just, setting up my silhouette to make it look nice. Everything after that, though, needs to be cleared from the document after this current frame. Okay, and then let's go back to here and let's just make sure my tongue action is still working. Boom, and it's working. Okay, so that's kind of a roundabout way of if you think of something more kind of complex, rather than that would have been a quick fix. But if you had something that you wanted to bring in from another project, that would be kind of the process. You want to bring over the layer, make sure the bones are named the same, bring over the keyframes. And what was really cool about that whole thing is when I brought over that bone, let's see if it did the parenting as well. When I brought over that bone, it automatically, knew where to put that bone. But what I'm trying to see now is if it's parented. And it's not. Okay, so it doesn't know the parenting, which is okay, but it's parented to this main root bone. There we go. And yeah, so that just keeps it there. Okay, so there we go. So I was looking for that tongue action. I now have it. So I can hide these bones. I don't need these bones. Or sorry, I'm going to select the bones I want first. So I want my tongue action. I want my mouth. These are the only two bones that are going to be controlling the slip sync. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control I to invert my selection. And then these already have the label shy bones. They're already checked, but I'm just going to make sure that they are shied. So I'm going to uncheck it and then check it again. And these two bones, I don't want them to be part of the shied checklist. So I'm going to uncheck those. So now watch what happens. When I hit Control H, which is my bone, I'm going to the bone menu. You can't see it. Let's switch my screen. Man, I'm like teaching a class here at this point. Okay, so when I go to the bone menu and I go to hide, show shy bones, Control H, that's what that's doing. It's hiding and showing those bones, which is really handy. Now, one thing that I forgot about is I have Vitruvian bones, and those are almost never part of that original high shy bones, unless it is. Okay, those actually are. So when I unhide, okay, that's actually part of it, which is great. So what I'm looking for now is I'm just making sure that when these two bones are only visible, that there's no keyframes being created other than for these two bones. So if I invert that selection, there's nothing here showing that there's any other keyframes, because that's all I'm doing. I'm just creating keyframes for those two bones. Okay, now we're ready to start animating. Usually this process would go a lot faster, but I'm positive someone in here probably could have got something out of that. So let's see here. A lip sync app called MadPie used it years ago to help with traditional animation, may not even exist anymore. Okay, cool. All right, no worries. So now we're ready to start animating. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just go ahead and listen to the audio.
You got it.
Okay, so it starts with you got it. You got it.
You got it.
You got it. All right, so we'll start with you. So we'll close his mouth a little bit. So you. Oh, and so now this is the next thing. I'm going to make sure that my default interpolation is set to step. So I'll just set these back to step here. And I also want to make sure that my intervals is set to 2 as well. And then what I'll do is I'll just, before the animation, I'll just create a freeze pose. Just so that everything stays. Even though, yeah. Because he's going to be, I'm going to switch these keys from step to interpolated. So like to smooth, so it has in-betweens. But right now, this is just going to look really blocked out and kind of cheesy. All right, so at this point, this is where I'm going to move my microphone to the side. I got to take a break with my breath, with my voice, and I'm just going to work on it. And if you guys have questions when I am done, I'll answer your questions. All right, cool. Let's do this.
Think of it as a alarm triage. You got it. Think of it as alarm triage. You got it. Think of it as alarm You got it. Think of it as alarm triage. Oh,
Okay, so this part right here, I'll explain kind of what I need to be mindful of with how I have the smartphone dial set up for anybody wondering. So right now, the one thing that I will say is because I have my root bone moved, it kind of moved these, which makes it a little awkward, but I'll work with it. So the root bone's at an angle, so the children are also going to be at an angle. Usually they're going to be straight up and down, but I'll work with it for where it's at. So what I'm going to do is so the T for got is 300 or 180 degrees down. So right about there. Okay, and then what this is a 360 smart bone. So I can continually loop it over and over and over again. I just need to make sure I close that loop each time I want to create this animation. So I'm going to do a full 360, which is this. Now I want to be able to start it as well here. So I got to create a keyframe for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just, what is it again for this? I think it's just double click for Multrush's MR Pose tool. There we go. And it created a keyframe. For vanilla tools, I think it's control and then click to create a keyframe for the rotation when you're using the transform bone tool. Okay, so now it's going to look like that.
You got it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do from there is I'm just going to keep pasting those keys to all my T's.
Think of it as...
Okay, so think that it's not going to be perfect, but I'll just use it as a placeholder for now.
Think of it as alarm...
Okay, so alarm.
Alarm triage.
Okay, and then triage. Triage. I don't know. You don't really see too much tongue on triage. Yeah, you do. I mean, we have teeth, but for him, you'd see the T.
Triage.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, dang. I keep on moving my timeline around too much. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this out.
You got it. Think of it as alarm triage.
That actually doesn't look too bad, even with just like a default quick tongue movement there. So that looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back onto smooth interpolation because I don't want it to be that choppy. I want it to be a little bit smoother. It'll still be on 2s, but it'll look a little nicer once it plays out.
You got it. Think of it...
Okay, and as you can see there,
You got it.
one thing I actually completely blanked on is what I needed to do was create a relative paste. So I'll show you what this means. So right now, take a look at the value. My value is really high. Let's go back to what? Oh, it's already rotating. Okay. So I just need to reset this angle. This will be the default. Should be the default.
You got it.
Oh, man. Okay. Let me kind of figure out what's going on here. So I need to make sure that the rotation is working properly, which it's not currently. So let's go ahead and paste that frame. Oh, wait, what am I looking at? I'm looking at the mouth. Shoot. I meant to look at the tongue keyframes. Okay, so let's go back to the tongue. So these are the keyframes I meant to look at here. So here we can see that the rotation is 90, and then it's 270, and then it's 450. So it's not 360 because it started at 90 and then it did a full revolution. So that's 450. So now what I needed to make sure to do is paste relative. So on top of 450, add 360 for these next set of keyframes. What it's going to do is it's going to go backwards because it's going to go back to 90. Now to paste relative to this ending position, what I do is I hit Control C, and then you can't see my screen. Let me share it. If I go to Edit, Paste Relative, Control Shift V, then I will be able to add that existing value. I should be able to anyway. Let's make sure it's doing it. Add that existing value to my previous value. Sometimes I get this glitch to where Moho doesn't know where to paste. Let me see if it's doing it. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. There it goes. Okay. So as you can see here, my rotation is now 372. So it's taking 450. Oh, that still didn't work properly. 450. And it moves back. So that didn't quite work either. All right. Give me just a second. I just need to troubleshoot this. So there's a full rotation. Should it not paste because it's 360? 397. What it should be doing is it should be pasting on top of this value, the rotational 360. So this keyframe and this keyframe should technically be the same. Should is the keyword there. Okay, let's make sure. 90 plus 360 is 450, right? 9 plus 6 is 15. 90 plus 50. Or wait, 90 plus, what am I doing? 90 plus what?
Got it.
360. Jeez, my math here. 90 plus 360 is 450. Okay, I need to test this out on just a separate file here. Sorry. I'm confusing myself for some reason. So I'm just going to drag out a bone, draw out a bone. And again, I could have fixed this issue by now, just by manually doing it. I'm just testing it. Just testing it to figure out, well, why isn't this working like I thought it would? And if it's helpful, then cool. Okay, so there's that. Let's just move these closer. And there's that. So this is 270. What? It starts at 90. Okay. So is this 0? No, that's 180. Is this 0? That's 0. All right. I just want to start with values that are easy to calculate. So here's 0, 180, 360. Great. Okay. So if I take that now and I paste it, there it goes. 720. 1080, right? Okay, so that's working. That's what it should be doing. So I took that value and then I pasted it, and then it's going to hold that value, and then it's going to hold that value, and you know it's just going to keep adding it up. That's what I'm trying to get this to do. But it's not working. So, whoa, what is this file? Okay, delete that.
You got it.
Okay, so I think what it might, I wonder if it's the tool. I'm gonna test something else out here. I'm just gonna use the default transform bone tool, not the script that I was using, and then I'm gonna paste it. Nope, I didn't like that. Crap. 17 of you are watching. Does anybody know why this isn't working? Hey, Cradle. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to think why isn't this working? So this is 450. All right, I'm going to try something else. I'm just going to paste that first value and then paste over it. And let's see if that holds it. Okay, is that working? Delete, paste. Ah, okay, I think that worked. 8, 10. I don't know what these freaking values are. 90, 270, 450, 450 still, 630. I'm sorry, guys, if this is boring. This is just some math here. Okay, that is working. 630, 810. Okay. Now if I paste this to here, paste. Okay, I just need to help it. Moho just needs some help. So I'm going to paste that last value. All right. Anyway, so that should have fixed that rotation going backwards. Hopefully that made sense to some of you. Okay, so now when I hit play,
You got it. Think of it as alarm triage.
okay, so now it's breaking because I'll have to remember this particular scenario so I could figure out what to do in the future for this rig. Okay, so that's the same value there. Just paste that over.
Triage.
Okay, here we go. So now here's the lip sync.
You got it. Think of it as alarm triage.
Okay, so the triage, I'm just going to hold that T a little bit longer. The triage.
Alarm triage.
Okay.
You got it. Think of it as alarm triage.
Cool. All right. I love when things get all technical and complicated. Makes for a really fun stream. Man, 18 are watching. That's I hope that was helpful, you guys. Or I don't know. Is 18 watching? No, 15 is watching according to my phone. 18 to OBS. But anyway, you guys, that is the stream. So we we got to where we're at. We drew our design of our character. We got our character. I was actually really happy about that. Check this out for anybody that's just watching. Got that to work. That was really cool. And then we got our first lip sync.
You got it. Think of it as alarm triage.
So I might stream later today. I'm going to break for lunch because my dogs are really sad and need to get some food. I do as well. But yeah, I might stream later today. I don't know. I'll be working still the rest of the day. I got like 8 hours more that I need to work. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and we'll talk later.